Okay, AG Woodworking is back as Santa Claus today because we're in the shop working on the long lost nightstand project that I actually built this in a competition at Skills USA. Yeah, it's like 9 months later, but hey, we're gonna finish it now. But first step for today is we gotta remove this John. So let's get to it. What am I doing? First off, you're gonna need your Phillips screwdriver bit for this, and this. So let's get it. I'm still here, don't worry. I know you'll miss me. I'm repping the Milwaukee drill impact type drill. It don't matter what you use. I ain't gonna judge you. Remove the screws. Where's my screw there? We're gonna need to take a break. I need to fix this. Folks, I've just made a huge discovery. See this little lever right here? Push down and pull. And voila! I actually did want to take them off with this and leave them on because I'm going to resand this and then I'm going to varnish it. So I don't want any hardware on it. So I didn't do it wrong. Homeboy just kind of forgot how to put it together, so laugh all you want. Ha ha ha. But yeah. I guess I'll show you the interior while we're at it. This is the interior of the cabinet. Not cabinet, it's a nightstand, guys. What am I talking about? It's a nightstand. Yeah. Drawer slider 1, drawer slider 2. Well, bang, well, boom, and out. You get the picture. It's a drawer. Gotta sand this. Gotta finish sanding the rest of this. And then it's varnish time, boys. And I'm done. Let's get to it. There's no way I'm gonna make you sit through me sanding this, so I'm gonna fast forward it. Editor Andy, speed this up.
As you're listening to me sand, what type of project should I do next? I've got a violin, I've got a ukulele, or a guitar I could start. Let me know.
Editor Andy, slow it down. Okay. Well, I'm gonna take off the handle before I get too far ahead of myself. All I gotta do is unscrew the Phillips or flathead bit from the inside. Bing, bam, boom, bang, it's done. I can fit Joe up in there. Well, bing, bang, boom, it's done. Check it out. I don't know why I'm using the words well, bang, bang, boom. It's kind of weird. But you have that.
Right now, I've been working in my home shop. It's got all the tools I need. Yeah, it ain't as fancy as them big shops, but it's got everything I want. That's all I need. This project is for me to jump back into woodworking over my college winter break, so hope it goes well.
Alrighty. This is going to be a hot reminder to you folks. Do not use magic marker on your builds unless you want it to stay forever. Now here, this is on the bottom of the drawer. So I'm going to leave it. First of all, I did that because I wanted that to be on there. These, I did not use a pencil when I was marking. So that's my own fault. Granted, I could have been thinking wrong because I was in a rush. But just don't use a magic marker on wood because it penetrates too deep to remove with just a few passes with the sander. You see, a pencil you can normally sand off and not take off too much material. But a magic marker, you're going to take off a significant amount of material that probably will impact the shape of your build. Now on the bottom here, I could sand it off, but who's going to be looking at the bottom of the drawer? Well, to be honest, I probably won't. And it's kind of making me not happy that I'm not going to sand it off. But never mind, I'm going to sand it off. It's going to make me mad. Okay, start to speed it up. Speed it up now, Editor Andy.
Yeah, in my head, when I originally said I'm not going to sand it, I knew I was going to sand it off. It's just, I can't let those things happen.
Remember when I said I wasn't going to sand off the permanent marker? I may have sanded it off. My OCD kicked in. Because, like, truly, I'm probably going to be the only one that will ever know that it was there. And it's going to stay that way now. Because it's gone. And yes, it did leave a little imperfection like I was talking about. There's a little swivel there in the wood. I just pushed too hard with the sander. And that can be resolved because I'm going to teach you something real quick. A sander, a rotational sander like this, it's not really helping it the harder you push. Like if you give light, consistent pressure, that's what will get the job done. You don't want to be bashing it in there because that's just going to ruin the grit on your sandpaper. It's going to shorten the life of your tool. It's going to do everything that you don't want, actually. But we got it done, and it looks pretty nifty. So I'm going to set this drawer to the side, and this one's ready for varnish. Now onto this bad girl. I'm going to show you a new trick that I learned and finish sanding it. I'll finish sanding it first, though. Hi, what are you doing in my drawer? I'm just kidding. I got the rough sand finished. And what I mean by rough sand, it's just my first round of sanding. So, a lot of people, including me, with their craftsmanship, you start by small grit to the high grits. So my small grit right here is a plain old 60 grit sandpaper. I'm going to jump to probably 200, and I might finish around 400, just hand sanding with 400. Because when I'm going to hand sand with 400, I'm just going to lightly brush it, just get all top burrs off. But let's jump to 220 real quick. I'm going to be honest with you. It's probably not optimal to make that big a jump. But it is technically optimal because I was actually sanding with 120. Because I rough sanded this in competition. I actually sanded it all the way up to 400 in competition. But that was one of my worst sand jobs because I did it really fast because it was in a competition. But I actually sanded with 120. So time to jump it to 220. I'm going to show you something real quick. Now, when you put the sandpaper on, line up the holes. It actually depends on what sander you have. But this sander right here has holes, and those holes allow the sand, or the sawdust, it's actually not sand, it allows the sawdust to get trapped inside the container. So when you're done, wiggle it off, you can empty it, like so. I'm not going to empty it right now because it's not completely full. But I got to get to sanding with the 220. Editor Randy, get back on the job. We got to speed bump this out.
I'll give you a quick backstory. So this nightstand was built at Skills USA, Wisconsin State Competition. Yeah, The competition lasted around 6 hours, and this was my best work, I would say. I gave it my all, and there's not much more I could ask for. I'm proud of my work and what I've done.
All right, all right. I'm gonna give you a quick sneak peek here. Hold on. I'm not gonna actually sand the back of my cabinet here. 1304 was my competitor number, and first place winner is what I did. I actually won the competition with this. I know all you carpenters out there are gonna be like, those seams were too big to win. Well, I'm sorry. Those seams actually did win. And yes, I'm not proud of all the seams, but it is a competition, and it's also called a timed competition. So if you can do better than the other competitors in that time range, you're going to do better. And my seams are tighter and actually pretty well. So 1304 was the winner that year. And I would say I did a pretty dang good job. It's time to fill the cracks I got right here before I get too far into this. It's time to show you the secret sawdust recipe. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it's the secret. We're gonna pan down to this piece of paper I got here for you. Bloom. All right, you're gonna take the canister that you had attached to your sander, or about any sawdust you can find on the floor. You're gonna dump probably a teaspoon on the table, depending on many cracks you have to fill. Then you're gonna shake up the glue. Now this is Gorilla Wood Glue. Does it really matter what wood glue you use? Not really, but that's what I got. So we're gonna good amount right there. Now, if you folks have ever mixed, I'm gonna look up here. If you folks have ever mixed epoxy, it's about the same thing. Use a little stick. I don't know why I'm gonna use a stick because I apply it with my finger, but we're gonna use a stick. Okay, screw the stick. You're gonna get clumps like this. This is what you want. Not really though. I normally don't mix it on paper, but I just do it so you guys can see. But it's gonna the consistency you want is Play-Doh. You're basically making your own wood glue paste, or it's actually wood putty, but you're using the sawdust that came from your build, so it looks proper. Now I'm gonna apply my putty to the cracks, like this. I don't know about you, but that crack looks pretty sealed up. All right, I'm gonna do it to the other cracks I have left, and I'll catch you back when I'm done. Alrighty, guys. So this is a crack that I sealed up. Now you can tell there was a crack there, yes, but it's minimal now. It's not like there was an actual crack. There's also a crack down here, right there, and it's sealed up, guys. So I'm gonna finish sanding with the 220. I'm gonna hand sand with 400, And it's time to varnish. Alrighty, I finished up the sanding off camera. Yeah, be mad. I'm just kidding. I got it sanded. Now, to start, we're going to get our varnish out, and I'm going to mix it. And I got to make sure the shop is between 60 and 80. Okay, probably not 80. We'll say 50 and 70. The shop's got to be fairly warm for the varnish to, well, accurately and consistently dry. Let's get the varnish out. We may have run into a slight issue. This is what the inside looks like. I'm going to try and cut it out, mix it up, and we'll do what we can do. It is time to teach you guys the ultimate secret about woodworking. It's not really an ultimate secret, but there's this thing called a tacky cloth, and it looks like a little cloth, and it's tacky, like. And a lot of people use it and wipe their woodworking projects down right before they varnish, seal, wood stain, whatever you want to call it. Well, sometimes you're not so lucky to acquire tacky cloth while you're building. And I'm going to call this the Andy cloth. It's just a towel, layer down, and you acquire some water. You sploob a little bit on there. I'll bring it down here. Okay, I'll hold this so we don't get any on the table. But it's just a little bit of water. Now you use it like so. You don't want it to be completely wet. You're not going to try to wetten your build. You're just trying to pick up the wood fibers that are left. That's not a blue cloth anymore, folks.
If you're scared to use the wet cloth, you can always just use an air hose and blow off your build carefully. This was just what I wanted to do today.
Okay. Anyways, this method, bring you up. This method of dampening your wood is also a different way this can be used. So, if you get your cloth a little wetter, and you're not going to saturate your wood, but you're going to moisten it. And by doing so, when you rub this towel across your wood surface, little grain fibers that got laid down will pick up and grab the towel. You'll get little fibers that are just laying on top of the wood, ready to be plucked off. You're just going to go back over with the sandpaper, and it'll pluck them off, like a sander is supposed to do. But I'm not gonna moisten the wood. I'm just gonna dry it off, and it's not drying off. It is getting it a little moist, but like I'm picking up all the sawdust that is left over on my build. Let me get back to work here. I gotta pause again. Before I seal this project up, I'm going to remove all interior hardware, which includes the drawer slides. So I got to take these Johns off. I don't know. So sad. I'm going to have to put them back on. Oh my. But yeah, you just got to do what you got to do to get your build done. So I'm going to take them off. Then we can start putting some polyurethane on and finish up the build. Another high quality tip, AG woodworking tip right here. When you're taking apart hardware, you know, it lines up with the holes that you want, yes? But make sure to set your sliders on the correct sides that they belong. So the slider on the left here will go on the left side. And I did label that. So when I go to put it back together, I don't get mixed up when I'm putting it on. Because you don't want to be halfway finishing your build when you're putting on your drawer and you're like, why aren't my holes lining up? So that's just another easy tip that might help you out. It is time to start sealing it up. I'm going to start with the inside here. I'll try to show you some, but it's really not that fun. Well, I mean, it's fun, but like the film, it's not going to be that entertaining for the viewers. Anyways, all it is. Yes, I mixed.
I'm going to say sorry here in advance. I didn't film me putting back the nightstand together. I was just too excited to see the final project. Sorry about that.
All right, I'm just gonna cut it. You're gonna see what the finished product will look like. Well, bam. Hey, how'd you get in there? Well, I finished the build up, folks. I got the sliding drawer working good. The sliders fitting nice. And I got the faceboard squared in there pretty well, if I do say so myself. But now that I'm done with this project, what should I do next? I've got a ukulele that I started. I've got a violin that I could start. And I could maybe start another acoustic guitar. But I want to know what you guys want. Other than that, thanks for watching.